Guess what I got? So I was able to go on to UPS and they changed my tracking back to Monday, and called, and customer service wasn't open because it was Sunday night. So I kept calling, trying different options. I finally got some lady, she sounded like she was Filipino. I don't know where she was, but she was able to put it on hold for me, and I was able to pick it up at 9 a.m. this morning. So it looks like they did a good job. Welds look pretty good. A lot better than what I could do. I don't see any voids. Of course, they say they leak check it. It is my unit. I told them I wanted mine back for sure. I didn't want them using it as a core. I know it's mine because I put that little punch mark right there, so I would know if it's mine or not. I don't know if the decal is serial numbered, but that's how I do it. I put a punch on it. So let's get installing it. Alright, so I put new O-rings on, and something I noticed when I went to bolt it down was these two tabs were not in alignment. This was actually bent on both sides to the point I couldn't even get the bolt in. It was covering about half of the hole. Easy fix. I mean, I just put this part in a vise, this area, and gently straightened it out on both sides, and that seemed to fix it. The only thing I can think of why it was like that is maybe heat from when they were welding it, or I don't know, maybe they have a fixture that they put it in that they had to tweak it. No harm, it's not gonna hurt it, it just wasn't able to bolt up right away. So this might be interesting to put together. That thing was hard to get apart. It's gonna be hard to put on. Well, I must be getting too excited because I forgot to clean this area in here. So I didn't have it bolted down. I just was checking the placement of the holes. So cleaned that up with brake clean, blew that off with compressed air. Same with the inside of these. There was like a blue track in there from the O-ring, from the old O-ring. Got all that off. Cleaned that area where that seal's gonna made up. And get a little bit of engine oil on these and put them on and get them over the lid. All right, well, hopefully this works out. So I got the two bolt holes started here. I left these kind of out so this whole thing can move around. And I set these in here because otherwise it falls out. And that is really tight. So I'm gonna try to put the nozzles on the edge of the piece of wood and push down on the intercooler, because I think I have more leverage that way. Yeah, much easier. That is the way to do that. Just put them there on the edge. Didn't hurt them at all. All right. Bolt holes are lined up there. I'm gonna tighten up the snout first, and then I'm gonna tighten this up using the blue Loctite and the torque per the service manual. All right, well, got it in there. Got all four of these torqued to 89 inch-pounds. Got those torqued. I did them to 89 inch-pounds. Gonna clean this area here, clean the top, make sure my orange seal is on the supercharger, and go ahead and place it up there. And we've cleaned the sealing surface on the engine and put the orange gasket there. Now, that orange gasket likes to pop up, so it was kind of tricky putting it in. You had to put it in even all the way around, and probably if I poke at it, it might try to bow out. So I'm gonna bring the lid on, I'm gonna drop it straight down on it. If you're watching my other videos, you remember I talked about putting the back bolts in of the lid. See how the grommets hold them? Makes it a lot easier to get to. You don't have to try to drop them in from the back. There we go. That's it. Start putting bolts in. Okay, so I picked up the front of the lid before I put the bolts in and just took a peek underneath to make sure that orange seal was still sitting where it should. It was, so I went ahead and lowered it down and started the bolts. If you don't have one of these, man, get one. If you're gonna do a big job, it just saves your wrist from a manual ratchet. I mean, a speed handle works too for this, but I mean, I use that down on the headers, just where you can't get a ratchet to swing. That thing just pops on and spins, and you know, it was $58 on Amazon. It comes with an extra battery. It was definitely worth the money. This is just a cheap one, Rex Betty, and yeah, you could do it manually if you wanted to try to break the bolts. I don't. I just get a regular ratchet and break the bolt if it's that tight. I don't want to abuse the tool. It's not a very good one, but it's done the job for me. I'm real happy with it. So, well, let's get this tightened up. I know it looks horrible, but I got the idea off Camaro 5 and it works great. So you can see this bolt, that one you can spin by hand. That one back there you can get with a wrench. It takes forever, or you can punch a hole in the cowl like I did. I know, I don't want to hear about it. But then this very back one, oh wait, I don't think I could even get an angle on it for you guys. There it is. See that back there? See the socket on it? I got a universal and a real stubby. Yeah, that's what you got to do to get to those. See it turning it? That's why you start them in the lid first. See it going? Now there's a hole right in front of it, you see. So I can get my finger on it if I had to. If it started getting away from me, or I couldn't get the socket up, but even that hole isn't quite in the right spot. Those bolts are hard to get to, so those will be your challenge when you go to do this. Hey, you remember that game of Operation when you were a kid? You know the one, the guy with the red nose that would light up. You had the tweezers and you had to go fish his wishbone out or whatever without hitting the buzzer. Well, that's what I had to do for that. That is my only 10mm quarter drive I have, and I lost it in the back of the engine. Fished it out with the magnet. I heard it click on. I couldn't see it. And I fished it out of that hole. Just like in the game of Operation. So if you ever played that, now you'll know why you learned that little lesson in life. All right, that was no fun. So if you guys do that, get some wobble extensions, different sizes in 1/4 inch. That might help. I tried everything in my book. So I did the best I could on those 2 back ones. They're tight, and everything else is tight. Went through them all, and now I'm gonna put these little jumpers on. Right there. Okay, that's on there. Got the clips on it. I'm going to put a gallon of 50/50 Dexcool in there, and I'm going to put a gallon of distilled water. I only use distilled. Tap water is horrible for engines because of the minerals. Drinking water isn't much better. So pretty much everything in the car would take distilled water. Your battery, your radiator, your intercooler. It's just better for it. Doesn't have the impurities in it. So fill this up and see how we go.